Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Right. This week, we don't have just one teacher to guide us into our daily meditation, but a whole bunch. So let's get into today's message. Imagine and see this in your mind as I read this first little piece. Try and see this image in your mind. Imagine for a moment holding a precious gem up to the light. You turn it slowly, inspecting its every facet, its beauty unveiled with every new angle. This is what it's like to be the effortless observer, like holding something up to the light and just having a curious look at it. The practice of being able to hold your thoughts and emotions up to the light, and by turning them over, being able to see them from all perspectives. Sunmarie, good morning. Welcome to this beautiful Thursday. The observer is the strongest part of you, the wisest part of you, that empowers you to navigate your inner world and also the world around you with some newfound freedom. From J. Claycamp, the first quote for today is, "In the beginning, you will fall into the gaps in between thoughts." And I mean, this is for sure an absolute simplification. In the beginning of this kind of journey, the meditation journey, the personal growth journey, he says, you will fall into the gaps between thoughts in the beginning. Well, that tends to not be right at the start, but it takes a while to even get there, falling into the gaps between thoughts. He says, but then after practicing for years, you'll become that gap. You will become the gap between thoughts. Ray Dalio says, when you are centered, then your emotions are not hijacking you. And the last quote for today is, the goal is not to manage your emotions, rather to have the emotions the same way you've had them before. The goal is not to manage the emotions, but to manage how you now respond to those emotions. You can have the emotions the same way you've always had them, but there can be something new in how you now respond to those old emotions. Linda, good morning. It's really good to see you. Hello. If you were not able to change the fact that you experience emotions, if that was something that for the foreseeable future you just couldn't do, you're likely to continue feeling the exact same feelings that you do. Would you be able to make peace with that reality? Let me shine the light from a slightly different angle. If you continue to experience the same emotions, but you have managed to change how you feel towards those emotions, would that be helpful? Ray Dalio's words about not being hijacked by your emotions doesn't mean not feeling the feels, but being in a space where you can take a step back and look at those feelings without being captured by them. Like holding a gem up to the light so you can inspect it from all the angles. How do you find that space? A space of freedom in which you can hold up a feeling and take an honest look at it, not to judge it, but to understand it. This is the space that J. Claycamp talks about, falling into the gaps between thoughts, realizing that a thought is something we can stand apart from and observe. It is from this space between thoughts where we realize that this thought that I'm looking at, this is not who I am. That's when we can take a look at the thought and the emotion and become interested in understanding how it is created. And by looking and understanding, a different response to our emotions becomes possible. With practice, that space grows bigger until we become that gap. We live our life in that gap between thoughts. and we become the curious observer of thoughts and feelings. This becomes our default state. There are many possible paths to this destination, but the most guaranteed route that I know is daily meditation. Becoming the effortless observer of your own emotional state is a sure outcome if you stick to it. Today's meditation is called simply that, the observer. And we'll put some practice into it. We'll put some practice into being able to take a step back and observe. If you're ready, you can close your eyes and we'll float away together, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. A deep inhale. And let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, then again let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. With every breath out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and even drop your head. Continue this same breathing pattern on your own time. With every slow inhale, become aware of how your body is rising. As you breathe in, feel your spine stretching taller. With every exhale, become aware of exactly how your body is softening. As you breathe out, feel every cell in your body softening. journey today is called The Observer. And we'll start the practice right now, while you're breathing, while your body is rising and falling. Imagine for a moment you can take a step away from yourself. Take a look at the human sitting there. I know that while for some people this might be practiced and easy to do, I also understand that that's not true for everybody. Because we don't always get this clear image in our mind when we try and look at ourselves. And it doesn't have to be a clear image. However you sense the situation is good. If you were to take a couple of steps away from yourself and look at yourself sitting there and breathing, what would you see? And much more importantly, if you could take a few steps away from yourself and look at the person sitting there breathing, how would you feel towards that person? This is the most important part. In its simplest form, while you look at the person sitting there breathing, is it possible for you to very simply just get a sense of someone who is busy trying? Whenever you look at you, could you get the sense of someone who is busy trying? If you can get there, you're in the right place. And even if you don't know what to do next, slowly, you'll figure it out. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Let's take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles forward and to the left, forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. Lean your upper body over to the left. Lean your upper body over to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at the very least, becoming as present as we possibly can be right now, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. With every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is always a good place to stop. But if you are here for the whole journey, we'll take the next few big breaths together. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a long, slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel into your body. Feel how softness slips into your body and settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. Feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And then fill up your belly as if there's a balloon in your belly, and feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath, but hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath as you dive deep into you, let's get back to that image of observing you again. Imagine you can take a few steps away from yourself, see yourself sitting there, and just observe. Take your next big breath. So let's do our rehearsal of being the observer. All this means is that we'll be physically practicing this, consciously, deliberately practicing being the observer, just so that we get a little bit better at it. With your next big breath as you dive deep into you, I want you to find the most recent example of, let's call it, a mistake you made. And there's so many ways we could describe this. Find whichever example works for you, but perhaps you made a silly mistake. Perhaps you had a bit of an overreaction with somebody. Perhaps it was neither an overreaction or a mistake, or just perhaps in hindsight, you thought, I could have dealt with that better. I could have had a better response. Even though the reaction in the moment wasn't bad, with a bit more time, I can see how I could have done that better. Find the most recent example you can. And if you have to search back a bit further, that's fine too. Any example from the past can work, really. Take your next big breath. This morning's message talks about being able to hold something up to the light like a gem and look at it from all of its angles. Now let's do that with your example. Let's hold your example up to the light and look at it from all of its angles. With your next big breath as you dive deep into you, imagine you were a fly on the wall during that situation, when you made your little mistake. Or imagine that there was a security camera on the wall somewhere that recorded this happening, and now you get to watch it on the screen. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, watch that video, see yourself having that reaction. Are you able to just observe it now? Are you able to not judge yourself now? Are you able to watch whoever else was involved without judging them in this moment? Just watch the video play out again. Take your next big breath. And just to jog your memory, try and see as much detail of that interaction as possible. Can you see yourself? Can you see what you were wearing on that day? And it's obviously okay if you can't. Let your mind just fill in the blanks. But now take a really good look at you in that situation. Again, like holding a gem up to the light and turning it so you can see all of its angles. Notice when you look at the gem, you're just observing. You're not full of judgment and criticism. Can you do the same with you? When you look back at that experience, at your action, your reaction, your mistake, we could call it. Could you turn the situation over and see it from all of its angles? And have no judgment, no criticism, just observing. Understanding how the dots connected during that moment. Take your next big breath. Now try and see into your own mind at that moment, particularly before your reaction, before you acted, before you said something. Can you remember what was going through your mind before the reaction happened? What were the thoughts you were thinking? Very likely there was something that you were trying to prevent. Something that you were trying to put a stop to. Whatever it was, just see if you can get back to what went through your thoughts before you acted or reacted. Take your next big breath. Now let's look in the other direction. We were looking into the past, holding that old situation up to the light, seeing it from all of its angles, in order to form a deeper understanding of how the dots were connecting at that moment. And when we remain on autopilot, when we don't become a good observer, and what it means is in future the dots will probably connect in the same way, again and again and again and again, and we'll repeat the same old mistakes over and over again. Unless we take the time to step back from the situation and try and see it holistically. So let's look into the future for the moment. Imagine the same situation plays out again, or something really similar. And now you have the advantage of time. Now you are a little bit removed from the situation and you have options. You can choose how to do it differently. How would you do it differently? Particularly if you could have a conversation with you before you act or react. Now you have the opportunity to understand what thoughts might be going through your mind if the same thing happens again. You can tap yourself on the shoulder and say, hey, just a moment before you react. Just hear what I've got to say. What would that conversation be? Have it right now. Take your next big breath. Just imagine having this experience where you're in the moment, you're ready to react, but then another part of you says, hang on a moment. Remember, we've been here before. We can do it differently this time. Doesn't that connect so beautifully to the quote from this morning that said, in the beginning, you'll fall into the spaces between thoughts? Isn't that a beautiful example? Now, one more rehearsal. Looking into the future, seeing the same or a very similar scenario playing out again, giving yourself a tap on the shoulder, and having a conversation before you react. Now, what would you want your reaction, or the real word is your response, to be this time? This time, how will you feel when you respond? This time, what will your words, your actions be when you respond? This time, what would your body language look like when you respond? And this time, next time, what will the expression on your face be as you respond? Take your next big breath and practice. We'll take one more big breath together, slipping out of the breath holding space and into the next. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There's no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. Being the observer. Try and create the picture again of holding up a gem to the light in order to turn it over and see all of its facets. We can practice becoming better at being that observer with everything, especially our own thoughts, emotions, feelings, our own actions and reactions. The quote from J. Claycamp says, "In the beginning, you will fall into the gaps between thoughts. After practicing for years, you become that gap." Ray Dalio says, when you are centered, then your emotions can happen, but they're not hijacking you. And the last quote for the morning is, the goal is not to manage your emotions. You can have the emotions. You are very likely to have them whether you want them or not. The goal is to manage how you respond to your emotions. And we can change our response to our emotions when we get to that place where we can pick up the emotion, hold it up to the light, and observe it like we would a gem. See the emotion happening without trying to change it. Learn that we'll actually be okay while the emotion's happening. We can just be the witness to the emotion happening. And if we can find that space, the space between thoughts, the space between emotions, then we can start figuring out how to choose a new response. And that can be very simple. In the past, when you had this particular emotion, in the past, how did you react to the emotion? What action did you take because of the emotion? Did you try and fight the emotion? Did the emotion make you try and fight someone else? Well, now we can have the emotion, but let's try some different responses. Did it work to fight yourself in the past? Probably not. Did it work to fight the other person in the past? Probably not. So now when I have that emotion, how could I respond differently? There are many options. Take your time with them. Try them all. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to become a better observer. Taking a step back, looking at the human me, just watching for a moment. Not having the need to change anything right now. Take a deep breath in. When I take a step back from me and look at me, thank you for learning to see me in a very generous light. At the very least, seeing someone who clearly is trying. Maybe not always trying perfectly. But surprise, surprise, we're not perfect creatures. I can look at me and see that I am, of course, trying. And that makes me happy. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning to have patience with me. Old patterns and old habits have been on autopilot for a very long time. And I'm much more likely to react in the same old way than remember to be the observer. I can have patience with that. I can try again and again. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for learning how to see you in the best light. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, somebody. Wishing you a really beautiful day. See you again soon. Ciao, ciao.